Hello, London. I'm Matt Brown, and you're listening to the Matt Brown Podcast.
It's a show about all things local and maybe some other stuff too. We have a great show for you today. Local journalist Mike Donachie is going to join us to provide an update on London's municipal election. I'm going to tell you all about it right after this.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe. It's the perfect time of year to take a break on their spacious patio, featuring craft beer, espresso drinks, snacks, meals, and more. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
London's municipal election is well underway, and even though it's early days, there's a lot happening this time around. So local journalist Mike Donachie is here to tell us all about it. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Always happy to come along. This is good fun.
So in the intro, I talked about the election. Let's go there second. And let's talk a little bit about what's happening down at City Hall these days.
Well, it's important to remember that whatever's going on with elections and business in the media and so on, the business of City Hall continues to grind again and again and again. We are having all our City Hall committees continuing on the same cycle, and the cycle actually is tightening, it seems, as we try and get through a few things before the end of the term. People all have their different projects that they're seeking to get through, and also they're seeking to throw a spotlight on what's being done at City Hall in general. So it's no less busy than it was, even if perhaps minds are elsewhere.
One of the number one topics that I've seen, not just in one ward, but in two or maybe even several, would be infill development. It seems to be a really, really touchy subject right now.
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And what that is change. I talk a lot about communications because in my main job I'm a comms and PR guy. And what happens when you have big impactful change in a big group like a city is the best way through it is to help everyone understand it, everyone buy in and get somewhere. You know, like we did with the buses, where everybody jumped on board and said, hey, let's all have buses. That's not how it happens generally in municipal politics. So the direction is part of the difficulty there. We're seeking a way through. And what's happening is people are being more reactive than active in this. And so a lot of communities are reacting to infill development in their community and quite rightly saying, well, why there? Why not here? And asking for a planned, thoughtful approach to this.
And in the midst of an election, how is council acting? The incumbent where the development's occurring and other councillors as well.
Yeah, so I'll say this in a very high level way. If you're an incumbent councillor and there is an unpopular development in your ward, it is absolutely vital for you to stand up and be seen, to be present there, probably opposing it somehow, casting a light on it, scrutinising it, in some ways trying to get it changed where that makes sense. And we're seeing that in a lot of different places as well, where people who, if it was in another ward, might vote differently, and instead acting well as local councillor and standing up and opposing these things. That's not always the best leadership, but that sort of thing does happen, yeah.
The voice of the neighbourhood, if you will.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and are these developments, are they generally going through?
Yes,
okay.
In general. And some in modified form. There's a good one in my neighbourhood. I live near Cheapside. Cheapside and Adelaide, there's between Adelaide and Highbury, there's an empty bit of ground there, 929 it is, about 900. And there's talk of putting a big block on there. That's 6 stories. It nearly died. It's gone away. It's come back. At time of writing, as we say in the media, at time of writing, it's got fewer units, and it's got more parking, and it's got a whole new bike area, and they've moved it on the site. I'm taking care in generalising the details, because depending on what stage of the process we get to, things keep changing. But my point is, that was a great example of the community showing up. People said, it's too big. We accept infill is happening, but why is it happening to us? And there we go again, communicating change. Change is always fine until it happens to you.
And speaking of big change, I was surprised to see this item come forward, and that was a new City Hall. London City Hall was built in somewhere around 1965. It's an aging building, lots of asbestos, lots of renovations required. People have been talking about for a decade, should we stay or should we go? How did that break out?
Yeah, that's a can of worms, that one. So currently there is no plan for another City Hall. There was a plan. Tenders were invited, there was a procurement process, and that did not succeed. if I may say so charitably. I think probably off the top of my head I can say one number here, which is there was one bid. They had a larger number of people involved in the process, but in the end only one company, which isn't enough for a competitive tendering process, only one company was able to take it seriously up to a point. We have just had the feedback on that. There was a report on that where experts took a look, and basically, I'll give you a good Scots word, shall I, Matt?
Please.
The word is guddle. Guddle.
You're going to have to offer me a definition as well.
It was a guddle. It was a bit of a confused mess as far as we can tell. Now, I
guddle.
say that as kindly as I can.
Gotcha.
It didn't work very well. There's a whole bunch of different criteria, which you can find on my blog if you like, London, Ontario Online News.
I like how you worked that in there.
Look for that on Substack. Okay. There you go. send me free cakes. But the difficulty around it seems to have been that the process didn't work for the people in it. There's a whole bunch of criteria and feedback about how it might have gone differently. But the upshot is we don't get a new City Hall. So whether you like it or not, that's our City Hall. That's what it is. Nobody wants to build us a new, well, one person wanted to build us a new one, but that didn't work out.
Yeah, and I could see that come through as an election issue. I think that any of these controversial issues, if you were a city member of council, you'd like them to go away for now and maybe come back in what they call the fourth quarter of 2026 or post-election. So we'll see where we go from there. We've got about 5 minutes left. Let's take a look specifically at the election. We're 6 weeks into a very long race that culminates at the end of October. What are you seeing these days?
Mines are on the front porches this summer already. We're seeing a lot of little bits of business come through City Hall, and also the meetings are going quicker and they're shorter. I think we had a 2-hour City Council meeting again at time of right.
When those can go 6-8 hours at times.
Yeah, and what's happening there is people have realised that they're not really being quoted or listened to as they agree with the last speaker and say the same thing again over several quotable paragraphs. They understand, because people now, or they should be now, because it's June of an election year, they should be knocking on doors and they know what matters to people. And I guarantee you they've heard the phrase cost of living so many times that they've stopped worrying about City Hall procedures and instead they've gone awful quiet. So the election is starting to happen. It's incredibly seasonal, as you know, a municipal election. There are some things that are okay and some things that aren't at certain times of year. There's a campaigning period which is now legally open, but also it's genteel London, Ontario, and in some parts it's not good to knock on doors in the summer because folks are at the cottage. So there's campaigning going to happen all summer, but in different types of ways. People showing up for things and getting photographed and so on, and then we have the fall, and then things really get active.
And the race is on.
And we're off, like the blue touch paper, as we say in firework country.
Okay. 57 candidates, last count.
That's my last count.
That
it's still
seems
going.
huge to me.
Last one I tracked properly was 2014, and one you'll remember well, and there was about 80.
80.
But there's a whole bunch there, and really what we've got is 14 races for council plus the mayor.
What are you seeing? There's 5 candidates last time I counted. Maybe it's changed. What are you seeing there?
That's a really interesting time because I'm seeing people unite behind the incumbent. He was sailing through with it was early in the year, I'm going to try and be fair. He was looking like he didn't have a strong opponent. Then Councillor Susan Stevenson stepped up. However seriously you take her, she is still a valid candidate. We've talked here about whether she can raise the money or not and what kind of campaign she's going to be able to run. I'm seeing a lot of signs already. I think that's going to be a grassroots campaign and that's going to roll along nicely. Josh Morgan is now under credible threat, and what's happening is people are uniting behind him. I'm not seeing other runners in the race. There are other credible candidates with things to say, but I'm not seeing other people in the race who might become mayor.
Generally speaking, if you look at that group of 5, there are a lot of people that are lined up on the right or center, and the incumbent mayor very much runs a centrist style leadership in his local government. It seems to me that the left is wide open.
Yeah, maybe. It's difficult to see who would come through. We've had left-wing candidates here locally in the past, and that's a hard gig, I think. I'm not sure I would do it now post-pandemic and in such a divided society. This is what I mean. It's a really brave thing when anyone steps up. I'm not sure we've clearly identified someone who is a strong left-wing candidate. We do, however, have a very strong grassroots candidate in Susan Stevenson, who will transcend political boundaries. And my argument is that class boundaries are more important for her campaign than how people have voted in the past.
Yeah, and if you look at the two candidates, differentiation is key, and there certainly is a lot of difference between the two. Last week, I took a look at Ward 1 with some changes in boundaries. We've got about a minute left. What are you seeing in Ward 4, the new Ward 4?
Yeah, Ward 4's just relinquished Old East Village to Ward 1. And so the main candidates there are Tom Cull as a progressive, Susan Stevenson's not running, and there are a few others there as well, notably Stephen Orser. I bumped into Stephen Orser just yesterday, and he's still the man he was. And so he's a really charismatic individual. He's very well connected in the community. Tom Cull is the progressive candidate there, has a really strong record as well. In lots of different ways of community involvement. Typically, and notably, the 14 years cleaning up garbage along the side of the Thames. Amazing stuff. So we've got those two strong candidates. And I'll not list them all because I'm sure people can find that easily enough.
Yeah,
At
London.ca, it's very easy to find.
There you go. And that's fair. Where I'm from, journalists have to list everyone. It's in the legislation. But there are a number of other people going there. But it's looking increasingly like those two are the ones that are the real candidates to watch. Tom Cull has a lot to say. And so once his candidacy really gets going, he'll absolutely be worth listening to. Yep. And Orser is promising backyard chickens.
Well, we're going to have to take a look at that next time. Again, Mike, thanks for coming on.
Anytime, Matt.
Discover London Bicycle Cafe, home of family cargo and urban cycling. Test ride an e-bike along riverside trails to see how easy moving through our city can really be. London Bicycle Cafe at the Forks of the Thames. See you soon.
So that's that. I'm Matt Brown, and you're listening to the Matt Brown Podcast. It's the show about all things local and maybe some other stuff too. As always, thanks for listening. Bye for now, and talk to you again soon, London.